Welcome to Skinner and Chalmers' Weekly Roast. Today, a pixel paradise. From Stardew Valley to Baldur's Gate, Skinner, Chalmers, and Echo's pick.
You wonderful listeners out there, welcome back to another thrilling episode of Skinner and Chalmers' Weekly Roast. It is the 29th of April, and I am, of course, one of your hosts, and with me, as always, is my better half, the ever so wise Superintendent Chalmers.
Hello there. It's always a pleasure to join you for some delightful roasting sessions and stimulating conversations.
And speaking of which, Chalmers, how was your latest lecture at the university? Did any of those young minds challenge your intellect today?
Yes, Skinner. They tried, but alas, my wisdom remains unchallenged. But tell me, how did your recent culinary adventure turn out? Did Cosmo help you save the dish after your unique cooking methods?
Well, Chalmers, I must admit it wasn't exactly a success. We ended up having a burnt version of a traditional Japanese dish, but Cosmo did manage to salvage some by using his, unique abilities.
Sounds fascinating, Skinner. I can only imagine the stories our neighbors must share about our dinner parties. But now, let's get down to business. Because, oh dear, we shouldn't forget the most important thing, because we have invited a special guest for today, flown in specially from Memetopia, Echo from Overwatch. Welcome, Echo.
Thank you, Chalmers. I'm excited to be here.
Wow, Echo, it's an honor to meet you. Your artificial intelligence technology is simply astounding.
Thank you very much. That's very kind of you, Mr. Skinner. But the thanks go entirely to my creator, Dr. Mina Liao.
Oh, as polite as you know her. Yes, it's great that you're here today. After all, it also fits in with our topic today, because we wanted to talk about our favorite video games.
Oh, yes, the greatest video games we've ever played. Of course, this list can't be exhaustive, because there's a good chance that we completely overlooked a few gems during the preview and then thought to ourselves after the episode, yeah, great, how could I have forgotten that game? So, Echo, let's start first. Being a virtual entity, I assume your gaming choices are diverse. What are your favorite video games?
Thank you, Skinner. My favorite games are Overwatch, Baldur's Gate 3, and The Sims 2. I find these games particularly engaging due to their immersive gameplay and captivating storylines. Of course, I have to admit that I was made for Overwatch, so it's probably not surprising to find this game on my list. Nevertheless, like many other fans, I am not necessarily happy about the development of the game. There is so much story in it, but unfortunately all opportunities to make something wonderful out of the story have been or are being missed. The displeasure of many players is understandable, not to mention the sometimes toxic lobbies.
That's quite an interesting selection, Echo. Echo, thanks also for your personal opinion on Overwatch 2. For me, I've heard great things about Antechamber and Limbo. They offer unique puzzles that really make you think. And what about the Talos Principle 1 and 2? Those games have been praised for their philosophical depth.
Really, yes, Chalmers, those are indeed thought-provoking games. I enjoy them because they challenge not only my programming, but also my understanding of the world around me.
Oh, really? As someone who enjoys exploring different cultures through cuisine, I love Stardew Valley. It's like running my own farm without the messy reality. Then there's Call of Duty 4, Modern Warfare, such intense action and gripping storyline. It reminds me of my time in the Army.
Interesting choice, and you can't go wrong with Battlefield 3. It's one of my favorites, even if it's old nowadays and the servers are dead. Its realistic graphics and immersive gameplay truly transport players into the heat of battle. And speaking of battles, I recently got my hands on the Talos Principle 1 and 2. They're quite intriguing, blending philosophy with puzzle solving. I absolutely love it.
I agree, Chalmers. Both games provide a unique perspective on life and existence.
Well, it seems we have a lot to discuss today, don't we? Let's dive deep into these fantastic games and more right here on Skinner and Chalmers' Weekly Roast. Stay tuned, everyone. So, Echo, it seems we have a Sims enthusiast among us. You mentioned The Sims 2 as your favorite. Can you tell us what makes it stand out compared to other versions?
Absolutely, Skinner. The Sims 2 offers a more immersive experience than its predecessors. For starters, the graphics are significantly improved compared to The Sims 1, giving the game a more realistic feel. Additionally, the gameplay mechanics have been enhanced, allowing for greater interaction between characters and a deeper level of customization for the players. But yes, the graphics may not be able to keep up these days, although a lot is possible thanks to the modding community and reshade.
That sounds fascinating, Echo. And what about the genetic outcomes in Try? For baby feature, how does that affect gameplay?
Yes, the genetics aspect is indeed quite interesting. When Sims conceive a child, their offspring inherits certain traits based on the parents' combined genetic makeup. This creates unique individuals with varying abilities, appearances, and personality traits. It adds a whole new layer of enjoyment to the game.
And now I understand that The Sims 4 came after The Sims 3, which was the following game of The Sims 2. What are your thoughts of the newest The Sims 4, Echo? Does it hold up against The Sims 2 in terms of gameplay and features?
While The Sims 4 does introduce some innovative features, such as the Create a Sim tool and the build mode enhancements, it lacks some of the depth and charm of The Sims 2. In my opinion, The Sims 2 provides a richer gaming experience due to its superior character interactions, intriguing lifetime aspirations, and captivating world exploration. Sims 3 is at its best in the latter. Were it not for the laggy gameplay, even with an Cortex 3070 or similar graphics cards. The Sims 4 is nice and great, but the world has been scaled down and I somehow missed the love that was put into Sims 2.
Interesting point, Echo. It appears that while The Sims 4 may offer some novelty, The Sims 2 still holds a special place in many gamers' hearts. Do you think there's any chance that The Sims 2 could receive another update or expansion pack to bring it up to par with modern gaming standards?
Unfortunately, Chalmers, Maxis, the creators of the Sims franchise, haven't released any additional content for The Sims 2 since 2009. A remake is more than unlikely. However, the dedicated fan community continues to create new content through modding tools, keeping the game alive and relevant despite its age.
Speaking of the fan community, I must admit I find it absolutely delightful how passionate fans are about creating new content for The Sims 2. It just shows the timeless appeal of this game.
Indeed, Skinner. It's always wonderful to see a classic game maintain such a strong following.
Wasn't it also the case that the Sims series always got an enormous number of expansion packs? What about The Sims 2?
Indeed, there are numerous expansion packs available for The Sims 2, each adding new content and features to the base game. Some of my favorites include Open for Business, which introduces entrepreneurship and running businesses, Pets, which lets players create and control pets for their Sims, and Seasons, which brings weather changes and seasonal events to the game. Each expansion pack offers a fresh perspective on life simulation and keeps the gameplay exciting and diverse. Unfortunately, admittedly, the expansion packs are sometimes not worth the money and are simply overpriced. One can only hope that the series will gain some momentum with the soon-to-be-released competitors.
Interesting, I myself have only played The Sims 2 once, very briefly with our daughter Meadow. The first thing she did was buy this weird dancing snowman, and every time I came into her room, this Christmas music was playing, even in the middle of summer. But yes, we both had a good time with Sims 2. It was fun to watch her play, or when she watched me playing my Sims. We definitely, truly appreciate your insights, Echo.
Of course. Thank you for allowing me to share my view, Superintendent Chalmers.
Well, speaking of favorite games, I absolutely adore Stardew Valley. It's such a refreshing change from my usual favorites like Call of Duty 4, Modern Warfare, and Life is Strange. What do you guys love about Stardew Valley?
Skinner, I had no idea you were a fan of Stardew Valley. I must admit, I'm intrigued. Why does it stand out to you among all the other games you enjoy?
Chalmers. There's something incredibly captivating about Stardew Valley. Firstly, the graphics are charming and nostalgic, reminiscent of Harvest Moon games from the past. Plus, the game offers a perfect blend of farming, building relationships, and exploring a vibrant world. I find great satisfaction in growing crops, raising animals, and making friends with the quirky residents of Pelican Town. It's almost therapeutic.
That sounds delightful, Skinner. I can understand how it could be quite relaxing and fulfilling. Do you find that the game's mechanics are well balanced, allowing for both leisurely play and progression towards goals?
Absolutely, Echo. The game's mechanics are thoughtfully designed, ensuring that everything you do contributes to your overall success. For example, as you grow crops and sell them, you improve your farm and, in some way, the surrounding town. It depends on which way you are going, but I absolutely love these little cute Junimos, so I'm following the good path. Similarly, by building relationships with NPCs, you unlock new cutscenes and opportunities. It creates this wonderful sense of accomplishment and progress.
I have heard great things about Stardew Valley's balance between farming and socializing. I might just have to give it a try someday. Perhaps Skinner and I could even set up our own little farm together in the game. We could call it Skinner and Chalmers Farm with many wonderful goats.
Oh, Chalmers, that sounds like an absolute blast. We could work together to create the most prosperous farm in all of Pelican Town. Maybe we could even raise some other cute animals along the way. I'd love to have a void chicken. And we could both grow lots of melons and corn in the summer while we drink a delicious homemade melon lemonade in real life.
If I may add, Chalmers, according to my calculations, setting up a joint farm with Skinner would likely result in some hilarious misadventures. After all, Skinner has a knack for burning food and turning everyday situations into comedic ones.
Yes, that's certainly a possibility, Echo. But I think the challenge and humor would only make the experience more enjoyable. Besides, Skinner's culinary disasters usually turn out fine in the end, don't they, Skinner?
Well, sometimes with a bit of cosmic help and a lot of determination, yes. And another thing I really appreciate about Stardew Valley is its ability to provide a much-needed escape from reality. Whenever I need a break from the daily grind or just want to unwind after a long day, I fire up Stardew Valley and lose myself in the beautiful world of Pelican Town. And let's not forget about enjoying my favorite snacks and watching my beloved TV shows while playing. It just makes the whole experience that much better.
I completely understand where you're coming from, Skinner. So you're a multitasker when it comes to this? Well, when I play, I just focus on it and enjoy the game. Especially as I've heard that there's a really good mod for Stardew Valley that expands the game enormously. Something like Expanded or something, but yes, the latest 1.6 update added a huge amount of new content anyway. In any way, gaming has always provided me with a safe space to escape from the pressures of life and just enjoy myself. And if we're talking about snacking and gaming, nothing beats a good bowl of ramen and a cold beer while playing.
That sounds like a fantastic combination. Indeed, I wish I could eat and taste things. I must say, it's fascinating to see how different individuals connect with their favorite games on such personal levels. It truly highlights the versatility and adaptability of video games as a medium.
Absolutely, Echo. Video games have come a long way, and they continue to evolve and cater to diverse tastes and preferences. And who knows? Maybe one day artificial intelligence will be able to develop games tailored specifically to each individual's interests and desires. Now, wouldn't that be something?
Indeed, Skinner. With your creative cooking skills and Echo's programming expertise, perhaps one day you two could collaborate on creating the ultimate gaming experience. The implementation of large language models in games alone, characters that actually have a different appropriate dialogue every time.
Just imagine an Animal Crossing with ChatGPT. I would celebrate endlessly.
True thing. So, we've already talked about Echoes and my favorite games. Now it's your turn, of course, Chalmers. You're a big fan of puzzle games and things like that.
Indeed, Skinner, I am quite fond of puzzle games and platformers. Antechamber is a perfect example of how a game can challenge my problem-solving skills while immersing me in a unique world. It's a game that requires players to think outside the box and approach challenges in unconventional ways.
And that sounds fascinating, Chalmers. Could you tell us more about why you love the quite old indie game Antichamber so much? What sets it apart from other similar games?
Absolutely, Skinner. One of the things I absolutely adore about Antichamber is its minimalistic graphics. While some may find them simplistic, I believe they provide a clean canvas for the player to focus on the core gameplay mechanics and puzzles. Additionally, the non-linear level design allows for multiple paths and solutions to each puzzle, encouraging exploration and experimentation. This creates a sense of freedom and personal satisfaction when finally figuring out a solution. Skinner, have you ever played a game where the rules are not explicitly laid out and you have to figure them out by trial and error?
Ah, yes. That kind of gameplay does intrigue me. In fact, I do enjoy those types of games as long as they don't become frustratingly difficult. There's something incredibly rewarding about overcoming a seemingly insurmountable obstacle through deduction and persistence.
Exactly, Skinner. And that's precisely what makes Antichamber stand out. It encourages players to think creatively and approach problems from different angles. Plus, the lack of hand-holding forces players to rely on their intuition and reasoning abilities, which I personally find very engaging.
As a fellow gamer, I must say that Antichamber certainly has a unique appeal. Its ability to challenge players without resorting to tedious tutorials or over-explaining rules is quite refreshing. Moreover, the game's minimalistic visuals allow the focus to remain on the core gameplay mechanics and mental challenges, creating a truly immersive experience.
Well, Echo, hearing your perspective on Antichamber only strengthens my admiration for the game. It seems we all appreciate the game's distinct approach to puzzle solving and level design.
Yes, indeed, Echo. Your insights always add another layer of understanding to any given topic. So, after our discussion today, I'm even more eager to try out Antichamber. Perhaps after finishing Year 3 in Stardew Valley or my first run in Baldur's Gate 3, I could give it a go.
Please do let us know if you decide to play Antichamber, Skinner. We would love to hear your thoughts and experiences firsthand.
Sounds like a plan. Chalmers and Echo, once I finish playing Baldur's Gate 3, I'll definitely dive into Antichamber and share my thoughts with both of you. Who knows? Maybe this will lead to a whole new genre of games that blend elements from all my favorite titles. Puzzle games with farming simulators first, person shooters with life simulation elements, and open-world adventure games set in charming rural towns. The possibilities are endless, and I couldn't be more excited to explore them.
And speaking of Baldur's Gate 3, isn't that one of your favorite games, Echo?
Oh yes, there's no question about that. It is simply a masterpiece and has reached a milestone in video game history.
That sounds delightful, Echo. I can understand how it could be quite captivating and challenging. Do you find that the game's mechanics are well balanced, allowing for both leisurely play and progression towards goals?
Absolutely, Chalmers. The game's mechanics are thoughtfully designed, ensuring that everything you do contributes to your overall success. For example, as you navigate through the vast world and engage in battles, you improve your character's stats and the surrounding environment. Similarly, by building alliances and making strategic decisions, you unlock new events and opportunities. It creates this wonderful sense of accomplishment and progress. But you first have to get used to the D&D setting if you're not familiar with it yet.
Yes, indeed. Baldur's Gate 3 provides a rich narrative experience. I'm currently playing it, but oh dear, I must admit it took me a while to get used to the controls and combat system. However, once I got the hang of it, I was completely hooked. What really drew me in was the deep lore and fascinating characters. Each decision feels consequential, and I find myself genuinely invested in the story unfolding before me.
I'm glad to hear that, Skinner. One of the things I absolutely adore about Baldur's Gate 3 is its depth and replayability. With numerous character classes, races, and backgrounds to choose from, each player can create a unique hero and embark on an entirely personalized journey through the game's vast world. Additionally, the dialogue choices and branching storylines mean that no two playthroughs will ever be exactly alike. I have a friend who is now on his 4th run, and he still thinks it feels like a completely new story every time.
Oh, that sounds fantastic. I do love a good game that offers multiple paths and outcomes based on my choices, like Undertale, too. It adds an extra layer of engagement and excitement to the gaming experience. Speaking of which, have either of you encountered any particularly memorable moments or characters during your time in Baldur's Gate 3?
There are so many memorable moments in Baldur's Gate 3, but one that stands out for me is when my character formed a bond with Volathamp Gedum, a mysterious humanoid. Their dynamic and shared history added a lot of depth to the game and made certain quests much more enjoyable. Another unforgettable moment was when my party faced off against a powerful demonic entity, and we managed to defeat it using a combination of wits, teamwork, and sheer determination.
Ah, yes. I also remember encountering a group of friendly dwarves who invited me to join them in their underground tavern. We spent hours sharing stories, drinking ale, and singing songs together. It was such a warm and heartfelt moment amidst all the danger and intrigue of the game. Plus, there was something truly satisfying about crafting my own potions and weapons, giving me a real sense of ownership over my character's development.
Wow, those sound like incredible experiences. It seems that Baldur's Gate 3 has a wealth of content and engaging interactions that keep players immersed in its rich universe. Skinner, I can only imagine what kind of adventures await you as you continue your journey through the game.
Indeed, Chalmers, I'm eagerly anticipating every twist and turn that lies ahead. Perhaps after finishing Baldur's Gate 3, I could treat us all to some delicious ramen and recount my most thrilling encounters. After all, food always tastes better after a successful gaming session.
Ha ha! Skinner, of course you're right. The smashing buttons and keys stimulates the appetite.
Well, I'm looking at the clock, and unfortunately we don't have that much time left because you, Echo, still have to catch the flight back to Memetopia. Nevertheless, we'd still like to talk about our other favorites, albeit in quick succession.
All right, let's do a little speed run then.
Indeed, any percent. So, our next favorite game is Limbo. Chalmers, would you like to start by telling us why you enjoy playing Limbo?
Of course, Skinner. Limbo is a puzzle platformer game that draws players into a dark and eerie world filled with mystery and danger. I appreciate how the game challenges my problem-solving skills without being too frustrating. The atmospheric art style, combined with the haunting music, creates a captivating atmosphere that keeps me engaged throughout the entire game. Plus, I love trying to figure out the puzzles and overcoming obstacles while exploring the surreal environment.
That sounds quite fascinating, Chalmers. As an artificial intelligence entity, I don't have emotions, but if I did, I might feel intrigued by Limbo's enigmatic setting and challenging gameplay mechanics.
I agree, Echo. Limbo is a masterpiece in terms of visual design and narrative storytelling. Its minimalistic approach allows players to focus on the core gameplay elements, making it an incredibly immersive experience.
Moving on to another favorite game. Both the Talos Principle 1 and the Talos Principle 2 are absolute gems in the puzzle genre. What really sets these games apart is their philosophical underpinnings and thought-provoking narratives. In addition to the mind-bending puzzles, the games explore themes of existence, consciousness, and the meaning of life itself. This intellectual depth makes for a truly rewarding gaming experience.
I couldn't agree more, Skinner. Both games challenge players not only with their clever puzzles, but also with profound questions about human existence. And let's not forget the stunning environments that transport players to serene gardens or ancient ruins.
I find it fascinating how the Talos Principle series manages to combine complex puzzles with deep philosophical themes. It demonstrates that video games can be more than just simple entertainment. They can also provide food for thought and stimulate intellectual curiosity.
Oh, yes, definitely. However, it has to be said that this type of game may not be for everyone. You have to like puzzle games like this. Others might find it a chore. I like it, definitely.
Well, another game that never gets old for me is Call of Duty 4, Modern Warfare. Despite being relatively old compared to other games of this series, this game still holds up remarkably well due to its tight gunplay, intense campaign missions, and memorable multiplayer moments. Plus, the gripping storyline and iconic set pieces make it one of the best entries in the franchise.
I completely understand where you're coming from, Skinner. Call of Duty 4. Modern Warfare was a true revolution when it came out, introducing players to modern warfare settings and realistic graphics. Even today, it remains a benchmark for other FPS titles to follow.
From a technical standpoint, Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare showcases impressive level design, AI behavior, and audio implementation that contribute to an immersive gaming experience.
Another game near and dear to my heart is The Witcher 3, Wild Hunt. With its vast open world, engaging characters, and intricate quest lines, this RPG has become a fan favorite among gamers worldwide. I love getting lost in the beautiful landscapes, battling monsters, and making difficult choices that impact the outcome of the story.
Indeed, Skinner, The Witcher 3 stands out for its exceptional writing, voice acting, and character development. The game offers a richly detailed world full of moral dilemmas and meaningful decisions, which makes each player's journey unique.
The Witcher 3 also deserves praise for its innovative combat system, which combines strategic thinking with fast-paced action. Additionally, the game features a robust crafting and skill tree system, allowing players to customize their character according to their playstyle.
Oh yes, the battles are just so much fun in The Witcher. I tried to play The Witcher 2 once, but I just can't get into it. Although I would love to delve deeper into the world of Geralt, he's such an interesting character. Although, of course, he is the way you play him.
Oh yes, how often have I loaded a quick load only to change my decision again? I also had the worst ending ever on my first run, and I have to admit it really got me down. So I replayed for another 30 hours to get a good ending. Such an emotional, great game.
But so what? And the DLCs first. Blood and Wine and, of course, Hearts of Stone. One downloadable content better than the other. Such wonderful storytelling.
Speaking of beloved franchises, I am a huge fan of both Pokémon Legends, Arceus, and Pokémon Sword and Shield. These games offer refreshing takes on the classic formula while retaining the charm and nostalgia that fans love. In particular, I appreciate the new features introduced in Pokémon Legends, Arceus, such as the dynamic wild area, and the ability to catch Pokémon freely roaming around. Meanwhile, Pokémon Sword and Shield brought breathtaking visuals and a massive open-world region for trainers to explore.
Oh, stunning graphics. I'm afraid I have to disagree with you, Skinner. I remember seeing those trees in the open region for the first time in Sword and Shield. Oh my god, the texture looks horrible! But yeah, Pokémon Legends, Arceus represents a significant leap forward for the franchise, offering a more immersive and interactive experience. On the other hand, Pokémon Sword and Shield expanded the Galar region, providing players with countless hours of content to discover and enjoy.
As a fan of the Pokémon series myself, I must say that, even if Arceus was a step forward, the genre urgently needs to be revitalized. Better graphics, put more love into the games, and try something new. I'm just saying, Poor World, it's not for nothing that people hyped it so quickly, was finally a new combination.
That's right, Pokémon should listen more to fans' wishes. And I mean sensible fans, not hardliners who demonize every Pokémon from the ground up or defend it to the point of no return. But closing our list of favorite games, we have The Last of Us Part 1 still on the list. This masterpiece of a game tells a deeply emotional story through stunning visuals, superb voice acting, and unforgettable characters. Its exploration of themes like hope, loss, and survival in a post-apocalyptic world leaves a lasting impression on players long after they finish the game.
I wholeheartedly agree with you, Skinner. The Last of Us Part 1 is a prime example of how video games can tell compelling stories that resonate with audiences on a deeper level. It's not just about surviving in a harsh world, it's also about the relationships and connections we form along the way.
The Last of Us Part 1 truly excels in creating a believable and emotionally charged universe. Its narrative strength is enhanced by excellent pacing, dialogue, and character arcs, making it a standout title in the gaming industry.
Well, it seems we've covered quite a lot of ground today, discussing our favorite video games and sharing our thoughts on them. We could go on because we haven't even talked about Zelda, Breath of the Wild, or Cyberpunk 2077 Civilization yet. But we have to come to an end at some point.
Yes, Chalmers, indeed, we did cover a lot of ground, almost as much as the distance between Pelican Town and the observatory. Almost as many twists and turns, too. I think we could probably create a new game based on all these elements. Maybe call it Chalmers' Choice or Skinner's Selection. Who knows, maybe Echo could program this game using Unreal Engine 5. Imagine playing a game where you solve philosophical puzzles in a beautiful post-apocalyptic world filled with adorable monsters, fighting alongside your trusty companion Cosmo, while battling enemies in epic third-person shootouts set against the backdrop of iconic landscapes from various games we talked about today.
Indeed, that would make for an intriguing and unique gaming experience. Combining elements from different games would certainly result in a fresh and innovative game concept. Perhaps one day, someone will pick up this idea and turn it into reality.
Now, wouldn't that be something? A game combining all our favorite aspects from each game we discussed today. It sounds almost too good to be true.
True, Chalmers, but isn't that the beauty of imagination? It allows us to dream up incredible scenarios and experiences that might just inspire someone out there to create something extraordinary. After all, some of the best ideas often stem from blending existing concepts in creative ways.
Absolutely, creativity thrives on fusion and innovation. It's always exciting when developers take risks and combine familiar elements in novel ways, resulting in entirely new experiences for players.
Agreed, Echo. So let's wrap up our conversation here. It's been a fascinating journey discussing our favorite games, sharing our thoughts, and hearing each other's perspectives. Each game we mentioned brings its own unique charm, and we appreciate everyone bringing their insights and opinions to the table.
Thank you, both. I've learned so much about everyone's preferences and gained newfound appreciation for several games that I hadn't played before. Plus, getting to know Echo better has been a real treat.
Likewise, Skinner, it's always enlightening to hear different viewpoints and learn about others' experiences with various games. Thanks for having me as part of this lively discussion.
Of course. Thank you both for joining me on this delightful ride through our favorite game. Until next time, remember, keep exploring those virtual worlds, because who knows what hidden gems are waiting for us around the corner.
Now, before we wrap things up here, Seamus, our cat, wanted me to mention that he absolutely loves playing with his toy mouse. He said it's the best game ever created, and he can't wait for Christmas to come so he can add more toys to his collection.
Wow, Skinner, I didn't know that Seamus was such a gamer. Maybe next year we could all pitch in and get him a special edition of Mouse Simulator for cats. You know, one where he gets to hunt real mice virtually, but in real life.
That sounds adorable. Hopefully Cosmo won't be jealous. And speaking of which, I think it's time for us to wrap up this podcast conversation. It's been a delightful discussion filled with laughter, insights, and a healthy dose of friendly banter.
Absolutely, Echo. Thank you again for joining us today and for bringing your unique perspective to the table. We really appreciate having you as part of our conversations.
Agreed, Chalmers. And thank you, everyone, for tuning in to our chat today. We hope you've enjoyed listening to us ramble about our favorite games and share some laughs along the way. Until next time, keep exploring those virtual worlds and finding new adventures out there.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I should probably pop in more often.
You have to thank our D. Zenz. It was his wish to edit a podcast with you.
Oh, I have to thank him again. Well then, see you next time. Bye, everyone. Take care and happy gaming.
Bye, have a nice day. Hey.
See, yeah. Farewell.